Back in October last year, in September, October time, Hillary Clinton, one of her lawyers, one of the lawyers for the Clinton campaign, was in trouble with the FBI for, they say, the FBI said, for lying to them in their investigation, in Durham's investigation into the origins of Russiagate. And we didn't really know what the lie was, but now we do. This is Glenn Greenwald on Twitter. He said the special counsel investigating wrongdoing that led to Russiagate, John Durham, filed a document accusing the Clinton campaign of paying tech operatives to spy on the Trump campaign. See if you can find liberal outlets covering this. Well, we'll talk about that in a little while. This is from Fox News. They broke the story, so don't blame me for the source. But it's just, this checks out. Fox News, Clinton campaign paid to infiltrate Trump Tower and the White House servers to link Trump to Russia. So that's not just the Trump Tower servers, but the White House servers as well. First on Fox, lawyers for the Clinton campaign paid a technology company to, quote, infiltrate servers belonging to Trump Tower and later the White House in order to establish an inference and narrative to bring the government agencies linking Donald Trump to Russia. A filing from special counsel John Durham says. So they're saying that the lawyer for Hillary Clinton paid a technology company to infiltrate the servers and spy on Donald Trump's server at Trump Tower and at the White House while there's an FBI investigation going on. Durham filed a motion on February the 11th focused on potential conflicts of interest related to the representation of former Clinton campaign lawyer Michael Sussmann, who has been charged with making a false statement to a federal agent. Sussmann has pleaded not guilty. Important to say that. The indictment against Sussmann says he told then FBI General Counsel James Baker in September of 2016, less than 2 months before the 2016 presidential election, that he was not doing work for any client when he requested and held a meeting in which he presented, quote, purported data and white papers that allegedly demonstrated a covert communications channel between the Trump Organization and Alpha Bank, which has ties to the Kremlin. If you've been following Russiagate at all, you will know that this was quite a massive story. You know, the walls were closing in on Trump because of this alleged link between his servers and this bank in Russia called Alpha Bank. It was perfectly legit. You're about to find out exactly how. But Durham's filing on February 11th in a section titled Factual Background reveals that Sussmann, the Clinton campaign lawyer, had assembled and conveyed the allegations to the FBI on behalf of at least 2 special clients, including a technology executive at a US-based internet company and the Clinton campaign. So they're saying that he did this under orders by the Clinton. At least that's how I'm reading it. Durham's filing said Sussmann's billings record reflect that he repeatedly billed the Clinton campaign for his work on the Russian Bank 1 allegations. So he's saying no. he must be saying, oh no, I did it off my own bat and nobody paid me. I assume. I mean, this is kind of big news, isn't it? Really, if you think about it. Isn't it like what's that thing? That big thing with Nixon. What was it called? Yeah, that was it. Watergate. Isn't it like Watergate, but kind of like in reverse? And she's spying on the president here. I say she, her campaign, spying on the president. I suppose there's a lot of buffers, isn't there? You know, like in The Godfather, there's a lot of buffers between, you know, the man at the top and the hitman. I'm going to read the rest of this. The filing revealed that Sussmann and the tech executive had met and communicated with another law partner who was serving as general counsel to the Clinton campaign, sources told Fox News. That lawyer is Mark Elias, who worked at the law firm Perkins Coie. Durham's filing states that in July 2016, the tech executive worked with Sussmann, a US investigative firm retained by law firm One, on behalf of the Clinton campaign, numerous cyber researchers and employees at multiple internet companies to, quote, assemble the purported data and white papers. They're trying to, fabricate some sort of link between Trump and Russia. Trying to get any sort of link. They're spying on the president. Now, of course, this lawyer's denied this, and we haven't heard anything from Hillary yet. We'll come to her in a bit. Tech Executive One had tasked these researchers to mine internet data and establish, quote, an inference and narrative tying then candidate Trump to Russia, Durham states. In doing so, Tech Executive One indicated that he was seeking to please certain VIPs, referring to individuals at law firm One and, obviously, the Clinton campaign. Durham also writes that during Sussmann's trial, the government will establish that among the internet data Executive One and his associates exploited was domain name service internet traffic pertaining to, quote, a particular healthcare provider, Trump Tower, Donald Trump's Central Park West apartment building, and for the executive office of the President of the United States. They're bugging the Oval Office. Isn't that the Oval Office? Isn't that shouldn't this be kind of big? Or is it just me? I might look way off the mark here. I must be. Everybody's ignoring it. Durham states that the internet company that Tech Executive One worked for, quote, had come to access and maintain dedicated service for the executive office of the president as, quote, part of a sensitive arrangement whereby it provided DNS resolution services to the EOP. Tech Executive One and his associates exploited this arrangement by mining the EOP's DNS traffic and other data for the purpose of gathering derogatory information about Donald Trump, Durham states. The filing also reveals that Sussmann provided, quote, an updated set of allegations, including the Russian bank data and additional allegations relating to the Trump to a second agency of the US government in 2017. This is huge. Durham says the allegations, quote, relied in part on the purported DNS traffic that Tech Executive One and others, quote, had assembled pertaining to Trump Tower, Donald Trump's New York City apartment building, the EOP, and the aforementioned healthcare provider. In Sussmann's meeting with the second US government agency, Durham says he, quote, provided data which he claimed reflected supposedly suspicious DNS lookups by these entities of internet protocol addresses. So it's all to do with IP addresses. DNS lookups. It's kind of like, it's almost like ringing a telephone without ringing it. It's like the computer's like going, are you there? And the other computer's going, yeah, I'm here. And that's it. That's really all it is. That's what a DNS lookup is. He claimed that the lookups, quote, demonstrated Trump and or his associates were using supposedly rare Russian-made wireless phones in the vicinity of the White House and other locations. Just insane. Russian phones within the White House. The special counsel's office has identified no support for these allegations. Durham wrote, adding that the lookups were far from rare in the United States. The entire Democratic establishment, everybody who is the blue no matter who crowd supporting the Democrats, and I mean CNN and MSNBC and the liberal media, they all jumped on this when it came out in 2017 about the Alpha Bank. In his meeting with Agency 2 employees, the defendant also made a substantially similar false statement as he made to the FBI General Counsel, Durham wrote. Quote, in particular, the defendant asserted he was not representing a particular client in conveying the above allegations. No, he was doing it all off his own back and just as a concerned citizen. He wasn't doing it for the people who have been paying him all this time and in several different positions throughout the years that the Clintons have been in politics. One of their capos, I suppose, if you want to call it that. Former President Trump reacted to the filing on Saturday evening. I suppose I'm going to have to read this. Obviously, he reacted crazily. And none of this, by the way, me talking about this, means I support Donald Trump. I just don't. I think the man's abhorrent and just the worst kind of person. But then so's Hillary Clinton. He said, anyway, it provides indisputable evidence that my campaign and US presidency was spied on by operatives paid by the Hillary Clinton campaign in an effort to develop a completely fabricated connection to Russia. Okay? This is a scandal far greater than the scope and magnitude in Watergate. You're kind of right. And those who were involved in and knew about this spying operation should be the subject of criminal prosecution. Totally agree with everything he said there, really. And then he goes and ruins it. In the strongest period of time in our country, this crime would have been punishable by death. Okay. Trump then added, not content with saying we should kill them, saying, in addition, reparations should be paid to those in our country who have been damaged by this, and by that I assume he means him by having his presidency all over again, because the last one was ruined. I'm assuming he's going to go on and say that. Former chief investigator of the Trump-Russia probe for the House Intelligence Committee under then-Representative Devin Nunes, Kash Patel, said the filing, quote, definitively shows that the Hillary Clinton campaign directly funded and ordered its lawyers at Perkins Coie to orchestrate a criminal enterprise to fabricate a connection between President Trump and Russia. Per Durham, this arrangement was put in motion in July of 2016, meaning the Hillary Clinton campaign and her lawyers masterminded the most intricate and coordinated conspiracy against Trump when he was both a candidate and later President of the United States, while simultaneously perpetuating the bogus Steele dossier hoax, Patel told Fox News, adding that the lawyers worked to infiltrate Trump Tower and White House servers. I had Ray McGovern on my podcast, and he was talking to me about this, about how they spied on a sitting president. The anti-Trump dossier, authored by ex-British intelligence officer Christopher Steele, commissioned by opposition research firm Fusion GPS, was funded by the DNC and Hillary Clinton's campaign through Elia's law firm Perkins Coie. The Steele dossier was some of the most outlandish BS I have ever seen in my life, and how people took it seriously. It's a damning indictment on anybody who did, put it that way. Patel added that Sussmann relayed the false narrative to US government agencies in the hopes of having them launch investigations of President Trump. And obviously then the media, can whip up this frenzy, and the anti-Trump sentiment can basically undermine everything. I hate Trump. I can't say hate him. Hate's too strong a word. I can't stand him, but his presidency was ruined. It wasn't Vladimir Putin who was interfering with the 2016 election. It was Hillary Clinton and the Democrats. And I've been saying this all along with many other people. In November 2021, Durham also charged Russian national Igor Danchenko of making false statements. Danchenko, who pleaded not guilty, is accused of lying about the source of the information that he provided to Christopher Steele for his dossier on Trump. In 2020, Durham charged the former FBI lawyer Kevin Kleinsmith with making a false statement, the first criminal case arising from this probe. Kleinsmith was referred for potential prosecution by the Justice Department's Inspector General's office, which conducted its own review of the Russia investigation. Like I say, this is huge. It should be all over the liberal media, shouldn't it? This is massive. This is the Clinton campaign spying on the president and the president-elect and the presidential opponent. I think all three it will say. At least if true. Of course they do, the lawyer does deny it. As Gladden said, see if you could find a liberal outlet covering it. Well, I did. I did try and find. So this is back in 2017. This is when CNN were all giddy about it. March 10th, 2017. This is them talking about the investigation into an odd computer link between the Russian bank and Trump organisation, trying to whip up, you know, the anti-Trump sentiment. Here they are, March the 18th. Russian bank claims effort to frame it for connections to the Trump organisation. Says, oh, they're claiming to frame it. And then, you know, here's March the 22nd. And obviously this is just, you know, a few that I found at the time. And during this week, 2 weeks, it was all that they were talking about. It was on the news constantly. Go back, you can find clips of them talking about it almost every show. Anderson Cooper, Wolf Blitzer, Don Lemon, they were all talking about it. Now, though, this is weird, because you can see here, this is all the CNN stuff, you know? But if I go like, I don't know, the past week, nothing about Alpha Bank. Isn't that weird? It's almost like, you know, CNN. Let's just see if it's a... No. It's almost like CNN aren't actually doing news, isn't it? It's almost like CNN are just doing propaganda for the establishment. Isn't it? So they were reporting on it at the time when it was Donald Trump. And as I say, I mean, this is, I think, is bigger than Watergate, and they're not reporting on it now. What they are doing, though, is going after Joe Rogan. They're doing that while they're ignoring all of this. While they're ignoring all of this that they used to... I mean, this is a story that they reported tons on back then, look. But they're not reporting on it now. It's almost like Joe Rogan's the news and they're not, isn't it? So there you go. It's almost like CNN aren't honest actors, isn't it? Suppressing news about their darling Hillary Clinton. This is what Hillary Clinton said at the time. Computer scientists have apparently uncovered a covert server linking the Trump organization to a Russian-based bank. Wow, that must have been a shock for you, mustn't it, Hillary, to find that out? In response to a new report from Slate showing that the Trump organization has a secret server registered to Trump Tower that has been covertly communicating with Russia, Hillary for America's senior policy advisor Jake Sullivan released the following statement Monday. He was the Hillary for America senior policy advisor. Okay. He said this. This could be the most direct link yet between Donald Trump and Moscow. Computer scientists have apparently uncovered a secret server, linking the Trump organization to a Russian-based bank. I tell you, it must have really come as a shock. The secret hotline may be the key to unlocking the mystery of Trump's ties to Russia. It certainly seems that the Trump organization felt it had something to hide, given that it apparently took steps to conceal the link when it was discovered by journalists. Journalists discovered it today. This line, they discovered it. They discovered it. Wow. When these journalists published that scoop, it must have, shocked the hell out of them. Anyway, this line of communication, he said, may help explain Trump's bizarre adoration of Vladimir Putin and endorsement of so many pro-Kremlin positions throughout his campaign. Yeah, I mean, you know, obviously the ships in the Black Sea, all the sanctions he put on Russia, bombing Syria, Russia's ally, you know, all of that stuff and all the rhetoric, etc. It raises even more troubling questions in light of Russia's masterminding of hacking efforts that are clearly intended to hurt Hillary Clinton's campaign. We can only assume that federal authorities will now explore this direct connection between Trump and Russia as part of their existing probe into Russia's meddling in our elections. Well, Jake, when you assume, you know what they say, you make an ass out of you and me. Who is Jake, by the way? Well, Jake Sullivan currently serves as Joe Biden's national security advisor. And yeah, he's the guy who's advising Joe Biden on Ukraine right now.